ready to rock and roll and preach the good word right here on Class X Radio. I am loaded up with information, newspapers, newsletter, water, Snickers, and I even brought some oranges. I tell you right now, I am ready to do a great show. It's Friday. It's rainy out. And unfortunately for me, I have a weekend jammed-packed with activities. Tonight, there is a lawyer bar association Christmas dinner, which I'm going to go to, only because I get to sit with my good buddy Stan Billingsley. And in addition to that, I've got tomorrow night a company Christmas party that's another company that I was invited to. And then, of course, Dallas and the Bengals on Sunday, where I'm taking all of my family members. And I hope it's not raining then, because it looks like we're going to have one rainy freaking weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, also do not forget the biggest event this weekend is Reds Fest, which begins at 3 o'clock. I think it goes to 10 o'clock tonight, and then tomorrow it's all day long. It's not on Sunday. In the past, they've had it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It is just, I guess they probably thought it was just too long and too much to expect those players to hang out. But let's get a report in from the gang here. Garrett, how was your morning?
Dog, going real well. This is my last thing, and then my weekend starts right after the show, so I'm excited for a big weekend.
Oh, you don't have to go to Coke.
I'm off today, apparently, and I didn't even know that. So it was like a surprise vacation day.
I just thought of something. We ought to help Bill Spry out. I know your position in Coke is very important.
I'm a pretty big wig.
And you interact a lot with the CEO of Coke.
Right.
Whose name escapes me right now.
Should I get a sponsorship?
That's what I was thinking about doing.
Okay, I'll talk with Mr. Cola and see if we can get something done there, Bill.
And you know what? Your pictures looked great yesterday. The pictures that Sabrina took.
Yeah.
I saw them.
Do you have them on your phone?
You know what? I don't, but I'll get them on my phone.
Right.
In fact,
I'll
text Sarah at the break and ask Sarah, because it's on my computer, to forward them to me, and then I'll forward them on to you, the whole thing.
Yeah,
but they look good. Except, this is hilarious. I warned you guys about the pictures. Did you all, talk to somebody that yellow is good for photographs?
It was just, is it bad or good for...
It's good.
No, it's not good.
Not good.
But you guys still look good anyway. But here I got 2 yellow light bulbs standing behind me.
I didn't even think about it when I got dressed that morning. You said wear whatever, so I'm like, this is fine. Yeah, I knew we were taking pictures, but I didn't think twice about wearing yellow.
Denise?
I always was told not to wear red.
No, red's good for pictures.
Well, pictures, yeah. Video, not so much.
Is there anything going on in traffic or your life that you would like to report on as we begin our show?
Or my life? Well, I mean, let's do traffic really quick first, because there is an accident at Woodburn and Gilpin. So, that's out there. We had weather today. We're not going to have a fun morning, but my life, I don't know. I'm staying busy.
Garrett does his television Skype interview today.
You did yours yesterday. No, she canceled on me at 1:45. And
what?
I didn't know it until 10 after. Yeah, Sarah and I sat there waiting, and then I'm like, I checked my phone.
She does that all the time.
Yeah, but I drove out to
I know.
East Jesus out there. And
why'd you have to go to the thing? Why couldn't you just do it from home?
You know what? I have it here, and that's what I emailed her.
Guess what I'm going to do today for my interview? I got a Christmas tree, and we decorated it with beer cans, right? So I'm going to set that up. That's going to be my background.
Good job.
All right.
There you go.
So
yeah,
what time is yours today?
3 p.m.
Mine's at 10.
Oh, so you are doing it today?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Because we have Larry Forgies is at 11, and then my stepson, Cole, is the final one, I think, is at 5. Let's hope she doesn't change any of them, because then they're all done.
And just explain, these are the TV interviews for
ladies and gentlemen, American jury, we're not making this any well, actually, I don't know if I've ever announced this, but I'm not going to tell you the name of the company, because I'm just not. But I can just tell you this. Can you say big time?
Willie
style. Big time. Isn't that the circus?
All I'm just saying is it's big time. And the reality of it is that I am getting pitched for Judge Bulldog, an attorney reality show.
Judge Bulldog, I could see.
And a 1-hour news talk show, the same as you see on the television talk stations a la CNN and Fox News. You know what, and you already know this, I would kick Fox News, CNN, MSNBC's, ass.
It'd be funny.
God, it would be all right.
I don't know why you're not a correspondent. I wish you were a correspondent on Morning Joe so I could go sit in and watch these.
Oh, God. I'm an emailer.
Would that not be a hoot if, like, we were, like, before or after that show?
Oh, my God.
And then we had to swap studios with them.
Uh-huh.
I can't believe you think she's hot. I just can't,
sexy.
especially for a 24-year-old guy.
And you know, we found out in the past week, didn't we, that we don't need Jake, but we love Jake.
We
and
need
who's that other guy
everybody.
that used to be in here with us? He used to be in here behind the camera, but
pilot
we
guy.
don't need big fat guy,
You need him.
linebacker.
You need him.
You know,
He had to come in here this morning
he's
and
real
pull off
sensitive though. He's real. If Chuck's listening, we got to make sure that he knows how sensitive he is. Zimmerman. His name's Zimmerman. Mike Zimmerman.
I think he's
Oh,
Magic
he's back
Mike,
today.
isn't he?
Magic Mike Zimmerman.
Magic Mike.
Magic Mike.
He was in that movie?
Yeah, that was
He
him.
was. He
Man, you
was.
trimmed down for that movie.
Just kidding, Zim. Love you, big guy.
Yeah, we love you, man. And we have no idea why television didn't want to do a Skype interview with you. Maybe it's because every time they tried to schedule it, you were at American Airlines.
Hey, he's a busy man. Busy
Working
man. He's
too.
a
He
working
works
American.
24/7. That he's like you.
Somebody's working the Dallas Cowboys charter flight.
No way.
He's
Wow,
throwing
you should.
hands.
Not at Des Bryant, though. I need him to score me a lot of points in my fantasy.
I just want everybody to know that I'm really worried about, A, the Bengals defensive line versus B, the Dallas's horrendous
Are they
offensive.
bad?
Oh, my God, yes.
No.
Gino and company is probably pretty happy.
I don't like to hear that because I need Dallas's offense to do well.
Romo will be throwing lots of balls to Des Bryant because they'll be behind, so they'll be throwing a lot.
Good, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, American Jury, we come back, we'll get this show really rolling. And until then, we're just going to start it out with Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA, as we try to save America. Of course, this song is really about anti-American Vietnam behavior. On Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. Today in history, folks, 1941, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And we got a little bit of that for you.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan. The United States was at peace with that nation, and at the solicitation of Japan, was still in conversation with its government and its emperor, looking toward the maintenance of peace in the Pacific. Indeed, 1 hour after Japanese air squadrons had commenced bombing in the American island of Oahu, the Japanese ambassador to the United States and his colleague delivered to our Secretary of State a formal reply to a recent American message. And while this reply stated that it seemed useless to continue the existing diplomatic negotiations, it contained no threat or hint of war or of armed attack. It will be recorded that the distance of Hawaii from Japan makes it obvious that the attack was deliberately planned many days or even weeks ago. During the intervening time, the Japanese government has deliberately sought to deceive the United States by false statements and expressions of hope for continued peace. The attack yesterday on the Hawaiian Islands has caused severe damage to American naval and military forces. I regret to tell you that very many American lives have been lost. In addition, American ships have been reported torpedoed on the high seas between San Francisco and Honolulu. Yesterday, the Japanese government also launched an attack against Malaya. Last night, Japanese forces attacked Hong Kong. Last night, Japanese forces attacked Guam. Last night, Japanese forces attacked the Philippine Islands. Last night, the Japanese attacked Wake Island. And this morning, the Japanese attacked Midway Island. Japan has therefore undertaken a surprise offensive extending throughout the Pacific area. The facts of yesterday and today speak for themselves. The people of the United States have already formed their opinions and well understand the implications.
There you go. All of that. Pearl Harbor, what a day.
Was that like the 9/11 of that generation? I mean, I feel like they're on similar levels, right?
Right.
Would that be a fair assessment?
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, the
Crazy.
American Jury, also today, this is a great song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding, 1967. Well, also today's National Cotton Candy Day, Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. Well, how about this? We'll dedicate this one to Wiz. International Civil Aviation Day.
Zim will like this.
Challenger, 1 Alpha Delta, turn right heading 340, and I've got to be a little bit curious on this. Where in God's name are you going?
All right.
340, we're going to Teteros, 601 Alpha Delta.
That's Zim. Where in God's
Where in
name are
God's
you
name are you
going?
going?
Would you agree with that?
You got a traffic report there, Denise, considering it's rainy out there. I hope there's not more accidents.
Well, there's a couple. One, this is on the ramp from southbound 275 to Reed Hartman. So that's on the off ramp. So if you're exiting there, you're going to run into some problems. Still dealing with the one at Woodburn and Gilpin. And then we have a broken down car on northbound 7175 right around Dixie. That could slow you down as you're heading towards the bridge there. So other than that, those are all the accidents or problems right now.
All right, we're sad to report we've lost a couple soldiers. Army Specialist Tyler J. Orgard, 20 of Bismarck, North Dakota, and Army Sergeant First Class Darren M. Lynn, 41 of Sidney, Montana, who both lost their lives to an improvised explosive device in Afghanistan. We've now lost 300 this year. We've lost 2,164 in Afghanistan since 2001. We lost 1 in Iraq this year. And since 2003, we've lost 4,486 men in Iraq. So we've lost about 7,500 men in Iraq and Afghanistan since 2001. 7,500 men and women who lost their lives giving service to their country. And not only that, the impact of that loss upon their families, their loved ones, their friends, and their communities is immeasurable. And on Pearl Harbor Day, we would just like to honor all of those men and women who we've lost in those wars and all the other wars. And we want to thank, with the greatest gratitude Bulldog Nation in America has, for all those who not only lost their lives, but also have been wounded horribly, who have post-traumatic stress disorder, have lost a limb, and also simply, and when I say simply, I say it with great honor, served this great country and are now a veteran. God bless the Marines, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, the National Guard. And I just want to say this, because it's a pet peeve of mine. I love police officers, and police officers do their duty. And I love firemen, and firemen do their duty. But with all due respect to them, I don't believe first responders on the domestic side of this country are in the same capacity as soldiers that go overseas and are shot at and have improvised explosive devices to deal with. So when they all clump them together, the first thing I think of is they shouldn't be clumped together, because soldiers are special. Sailors are special. Marines are special. Airmen are special. Guardsmen are special. I've had my piece. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury, we will come back with Radio Superbity. This is Gary Wright, Dream Weaver on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. I might have to leave here at 8:15 this morning. I don't know yet, guys. So you might have to do 45 minutes of the show by yourselves.
Yeah.
And you can handle it?
Sure we can.
I think we've proven it in the past.
You've
We're
proven in the
highly
past.
capable.
You're capable.
We'll pull Zim in. We'll talk some military stuff.
Yes.
What's going on in the traffic out there?
Well, let's see. We have a new accident, and this is on Ohio 503 at 127 in Butler County. And then we are still dealing with two other accidents. It's southbound, the ramp from southbound Reed, 275 to Reed Hartman. The way they write it, I have to read it differently. Also, Woodburn at Gilpin, and then just a broken down car on 7175 right around Dixie. So things will start picking up here in about a half an hour. But right now, those look more than normal out there going on anyway.
Right. Well, here's what we got going on right here and now. Manti Te'o just won some more awards. Maxwell Award for Nation's Most Outstanding Player, the Bednarik Award for Top Defensive Player, the Walter Camp Foundation Player of the Year Award. He's the first defensive player to win the Maxwell Award since 1980, Garrett. What do you think the odds are? What do you think the odds of him winning the Heisman? 100%.
I don't know. I mean, my mom asked me that last night. She said, she asked me that exact question. What are Te'o's chances? And I said, I think good this year just because of the lack of a real standout, absolute number one front runner for it, and because of his name and story in Notre Dame.
Right.
I think he does. I think he's got a good shot.
Right.
And winning those awards, he's obviously well-liked.
Right. All right, Bill Clinton and Michelle Obama. They are both up for Grammys in the Best Spoken Word Album category for radio versions of their books. Oh, my God. What if she loses? Unbelievable. All right, Wendy Williams booed for slamming Beyonce. Though she called herself a fan of Beyonce, she will only be able to watch her new documentary because of closed captioning because Beyonce can't talk. She sounds like she's a fifth-grade education. Whoa!
That's pretty,
Wow.
that's pretty harsh.
Wow.
Catty. Yeah, she's the one, Wendy Williams, the one I was looking at naked yesterday. She did that Pete ad.
She did?
Yeah, so I was checking out the nude pics online.
Yeah, so was I, right behind you, because I couldn't avoid having to look at it.
You could have. I don't look at your screen.
Well, that's right. My screen isn't facing you. I'm forced to look up and I had to
Sorry,
let
my
the dog
computer's
know.
right there.
I had to show him what you were doing on the clock.
Daniel Day-Lewis, a fellow Lincoln actor, said Day-Lewis took his role so seriously that for 3 months of production, he insisted everyone call him Mr. President, including Steven Spielberg. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
Call me Mr. President. I only want to be called Mr. President. Stephen Baldwin, he was arrested in New York for repeatedly failing to file personal income tax returns. He allegedly owes taxes for 2008 through 2010. Now, why doesn't his big brother help him out? You know what I mean? Why can't he just help him out? Kate Middleton released from the hospital after treatment for acute morning sickness. Snoop Dogg, the rapper who now calls himself Snoop Lion. Does anybody call Snoop Dogg Snoop Lion?
No.
No, I've never.
Absolutely.
Says he smokes 81 blunts per day, 7 days per week on average.
81 a day? That's more than
What's
like.
a blunt? I'll show you my drug stupidity. I know what a joint is. What's a blunt?
It's a joint.
Is it just a little?
No, it's just a
81
joint.
Wow.
joints
Just another
a
word.
day?
Okay. Well,
My
Blunt,
there with-
joint, fatty,
I'm right
ice
there with
boom,
you, dog. I
crack
couldn't.
Cow.
He is completely stoned all
How
the
do you
time.
know all that? How do you know that?
Huge drug addict.
We're going to retort. Justin Bieber, Rolling Stone, his manager says the Grammys blew it by not nominating him for an award. Yeah. Kristen Wiig, the SNL alum, is possibly joining the cast of Anchorman 2 as the love interest of weatherman Brick Tamlin. Steve
As
Carell.
the weatherman.
The love interest. That's funny. Dana Perino, she's come under fire for insinuating that women could avoid domestic violence by making better decisions. Hello? What's wrong with that? I like Dana Perino. What outrageously expensive price tags. $250,000 for a bottle of diamond-infused nail polish.
Why?
$26,000 for a truffle dinner at Philadelphia restaurant La Castane. $2,300 for a hot dog at New York City nightclub. 235th top with truffles and onions, caramelized and Dom Perignon champagne. What
Why?
a freaking just, ugh.
What a waste.
What
though.
a complete
What
waste.
a waste.
It's about what I spend on
wouldn't
dinner
you
on
feel
average.
as a human being, period, just guilty as
Right.
all get out to go spend that kind of money on a hot
Terrible.
dog?
Sad news, Maxwell King, he's the freshman at Fairfield student who collapsed after a basketball game. His visitation is scheduled Sunday from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Community Christian Church on Milliken Road in Fairfield Township. Kasich says he expects tolls on the new Brent Spence Bridge to last until the bridge is paid for. He said the tolls would only pay for the bridge and won't be used for a source of revenue. Let's hear what he has to say.
That bridge is a key, not, like I say, not only for Cincinnati, not only for Ohio, but for the country.
Near the Brent Spence next Wednesday, he and Kentucky's Steve Beshear will put their gubernatorial signatures to a plan they say will spell out how to pay for a new bridge. It's expected to spell T-O-L-L.
The tolling will only be for purposes of building that bridge. It will not be done for the purposes of taking money and putting it in a kitty somewhere and spending it. If there is any tolling, which there probably will be, it will only be used to build that bridge, and then it will go away.
Yeah, right. They'll see how much money they'll bring in and then keep that thing going.
And I got
we
good
needed
news.
to maintain
I
it.
got great news for the anti-toll folks. Not only do all the Northern Kentucky legislators oppose it, Damon Thayer, who's a leader in the Republican Senate in the state, says he is against the tolls.
Yeah, that's what they actually went on to say after that clip is that
So good luck, Kasich and Beshear.
They'll have trouble getting KY lawmakers involved.
I'm going to send them all a fruit basket for Christmas for their good, wise decision. And we have a clip here. Oh, my goodness, Roxy Foxy Qualls has announced a mayor bid.
After much thought and with the encouragement of many
Man, you
people,
thought about
including
like you
those
should
of
just
you in this
leave
room,
town.
I've decided to
I'm
run
just
for
teasing,
mayor of Cincinnati.
What big news.
Roxy.
Mayor Mallory's endorsing her. Who else is going to run? John Cranley, a Democrat, who, by the way, is already hitting Roxy Qualls for the streetcar and the privatization of parking.
You know, I may run for mayor.
And Alex T., the chairman of the Republican Party, says he's against all that. And they're trying to talk Greg Hartman, who's our good buddy now, into running for mayor.
Really?
You know
Charlie
what? We
Sheen
need
could
a
win
good mayor in this city because we haven't had one in a while.
You think I'd make a good politician?
I'm going to tell you right now, Tommy boy, you could do anything you wanted to.
Thank you.
You know what? The fact that you live in a van down by the river makes you
nothing to do with it.
You have something to appeal to the average guy.
That's right.
Because everybody's going to be living in a van down by the freaking river after 4 more years of Barack Obama.
Right.
Hell, I'm trying to pick out my spot right now. My wife and I drove down there the other day looking for a place.
Is there
Great
room?
location
Where can we
down
park
there.
a van
You get
down by the river to
as
live?
long away from me as possible.
Yeah.
About that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I like
when we
my
come back,
secluded area.
we'll have more Radio Superbia. This is the Marshall Tucker Band. Fire on the mountain! Fire on the mountain! Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog! Eric Deters on Class X Radio. Nothing like practicing law in between breaks. We got to remember to do this every hour. WEBN let Joel Moss and Jay Gilbert go yesterday. You know what a perfect place for Jay Gilbert would be? Class X Radio.
Who'd they replace?
Jay Gilbert. Joel, I tell you right now, you know,
It's a
I
shame,
offered,
man.
you know, I used to joke around about being the WEBN morning person, and I actually proposed it, and they didn't even respond. The EBN's morning just kept going, I mean, down in the ratings, but they made it worse by imploding it all.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you right now, they should have let me do what I'm doing here. What I'm doing here is what I proposed to them to do over there.
With a combination
But
of
only
music,
Bill Spry was smart enough to have the vision of the dog.
Jay was good. Jay Gilbert is a great DJ. He's funnier than hell.
He is a good DJ.
So they were the morning crew?
No, he was the morning guy.
afternoon.
He was the afternoon
Oh,
guy.
okay.
Lloyd Sill was arrested by Newport police yesterday, allegedly stole multiple trucks in the last few weeks, including one filled with Little Debbie snack foods, one filled with Boy Scout supplies in White Oak, and one in front of a government building. And a client of mine called me yesterday. He thinks he stole his race car truck.
Oh, no. I loved the Hostess cupcake thing.
Wasn't Hostess, was Debbie.
Little Debbie.
Debbie.
Okay, same thing.
Hostess is
Snack
gone.
Cakes.
Would you rather
Snack
have a
cakes.
Hostess or a Little Debbie?
Doesn't matter.
You didn't get the joke. Or maybe you did.
I got it. I don't know if he did.
Yeah, either.
Charges suspected in 5 suspects were indicted in Butler County yesterday in charges of murder, aggravated robbery, and aggravated burglary in connection with the death of 19-year-old Julian Slavin, who was killed November 24th during a home invasion. Wow. Dean Gillespie, convicted of rape by eyewitness testimony, now a free man after 20 years.
I live life to the absolute fullest every single day I get out of bed.
47-year-old Dean Gillespie was released from prison 1 year ago. He served 20 years for a crime he did not commit. Had he taken a plea deal, admitted to rape and robbery, he says his release probably would have come sooner.
No, that wasn't going to happen. I didn't do this. I didn't commit these crimes. I mean, we know who did now. And I didn't do it.
Today, Gillespie shared his ordeal.
You
with
freaking
members of
imagine
the...
being in the clink for 20 years.
For something I didn't do, I couldn't handle it.
Would you admit something that you didn't do just to get out?
Yes. Hell, to get out.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I think I would too.
Hell yeah, to get out. If they said, if you admit this, you'll get out. I said, okay, I did it. Got a traffic report there, Denise?
I do. I tell you what, traffic's really, really slow out there, especially on 71, 75. There was a broken down car right around Dixie, but it looks like they've cleared it out of the way, but traffic is still really slow. They cleared several of the other accidents as well that we had around the tri-state, still dealing with one on Ohio 503 in Butler County right at 127. So seeing some delays already, 71, 75 from Buttermilk to the bridge, 471 heading inbound from Memorial. That rainy weather going to slow everything down, so expect delays this morning.
Hold on, I didn't phrase that right. Rape. That's what that guy was convicted of. And they said if he would have admitted it, it would have let him out.
Really?
Why? That doesn't make any sense.
Why would they let him out? That's like,
I don't
that
know.
sounds like a
He
trick.
could have gotten out or taken a plea deal and gotten out much sooner.
All right, I'm not going to save sports for you guys in case I don't have to leave at 8:15. So here we go. Roger Goodell is reportedly considering eliminating kickoffs to reduce injuries suffered during games. I would like him to eliminate kickoffs for this reason. The freaking blocking in the back penalties on every single kickoff.
Yep.
And you know what I blame? I blame referees for calling
Really?
nitnack calls and nitpicky. How do you freaking do it when you know it's going to be called every time? In other words, if you are on the defensive side, or excuse me, on the offensive side of a kickoff, hello, don't block in the back. I would cut a player that did it.
Yeah, simple. Just don't touch the guy. But I think that they call it. I don't think they're as ticky-tack as you probably think, but you're right. They get called almost every freaking time. Go ahead, get rid of them, give them the ball on the 25, and go.
After a TD, a team that would have been kicking off would get the ball at their own 30-yard line, facing 4th and 15, and either could punt or attempt a first down. Now, that's wild.
What?
Well, I mean, okay, let's say you score a touchdown. Let's say the Bengals score on Dallas. So they got a touchdown. What then would happen is the Bengals would have the ball at the 30, and they could either kick off or go for it on 4th and 15. It's like instead of an onside kick late in the game,
you have to get a 4th and 15.
4th and 15. Heck, if you were a really good offensive team, you could keep the ball for a long time.
Yeah, you could.
But if you don't make it, though, you're on your 30-yard line.
And they could just punch it in or get a field goal right away.
That's a pretty interesting rule change.
That would change the game entirely. Entirely.
Yeah,
That's drastic.
I say keep the kickoff. Sorry.
I say I guess I didn't think about that, because if you eliminate kickoffs, then you eliminate the opportunity for a team to get the ball back to back times.
Right.
Yeah,
NHL, baby. Further apart isn't going to happen. Reportedly, San Diego is going to fire Norv Turner. Yeah. And their GM. I tell you what, Peyton Manning looked sharp last night. Beat the Raiders. Carson Palmer just sucks. Interception and a fumble. The Knicks beat the Heat in Miami, 112-92. I like the Heat, man. I can't win. How about your Bearcats? Arkansas Little Rock, 87-53, and they set a school record with 22 3 steals. They are now 8-0.
Big time. 18 points from my boy Sean Kilpatrick. Lance
like
Stevenson. I went out to B-Dubs for a beer with some buddies after the game. Saw Lance Stevenson, the old UC one-year guy that threw his fiance down the steps, plays for the Pacers now. He's famous now. Well, not famous, but he was responsible for the choking incident of LeBron James in the playoffs last year. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Just a bench player last year, and he made some choking gesture, and then LeBron James, somebody asked him about it after the games, and LeBron was like, you want me to give you a quote about Lance Stevenson? Seriously?
I'm going to let you have this. If I have to go, you guys can have your little game about the pro football.
Yes. Denise, what do you think? We're going to call up Jason. We're going to get him on the horn and see how compatible you guys are again. And this time you have to play.
I played before.
No, you didn't. I would ask her the game. I said, on the count of 3, you guys both do it.
We got to ask them a question now. Are you all coming up on your 2-week anniversary yet?
My God.
2 weeks. It's more than that.
Oh. Are you coming up on a 30-day anniversary?
I have no idea. Can we get back? Hey, Zim, we need to go back and video it.
Do you have a song yet? I mean, do you guys have a song, like your song yet?
Actually, we do.
Okay, what's the name of it? How about this? A new study suggests being childless, especially a childless woman who wants children, might increase the risk of dying prematurely.
Really? What about men?
Wow. Men are just men.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Department of Veterans Affairs. New regulations will be proposed today by the department and will be published in the Federal Register Monday. It lists Parkinson, unprovoked seizures, certain dementias, depression, hormone deficiencies related, blah, 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 eligible for expanded veterans benefits. Well, they ought to get some benefits. We support the veterans here, but of course Barack Obama doesn't. Officials say the Obama administration is likely to ask Congress for more authority to launch military operations. I tell you what, Barack Obama wants to be king. Man, oh man, you believe he's going on a 3-week vacation?
How many normal people get a 3-week vacation?
Not many.
So
Not many.
Where is his normalcy as far as being
normalcy?
Okay, there you go. Whatever. As far as being a normal kind of man. I mean, if
he's not a normal kind of man.
Yeah, he tries to play it off that way.
He's a pothead socialist from Chicago.
He tries to play it off that way.
This is Jeff Rotal. Nothing is easy on Class X Radio. We want you, Gilbert. Class X Radio. What's going on out there in traffic?
Well, right now things are really starting to pick up and slow down out there. That's pretty much all we have left going on. There is an accident still reported on 503 in Butler County right at 127. Really slow traffic already, looking at 30 minutes. Northbound 71, 75 in northern Kentucky, and then southbound 71 bunching up right up around all the merges there. 71 at 275, and as you're heading southbound there, right around the Ronald Reagan merge on down. So it also looks like we're dealing with some heavier traffic on westbound 275 in between 71 and 75 heading in the eastbound direction. So other than that, just your normal slow spots.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury. I had a great day in the practice of law yesterday. I had a couple legal victories. You know, every day you get good news and bad news in law. Open up your mail. Oh, won that one. Oop, lost that one. Battle on. But I also am filing a lawsuit today, and I'm not going to embarrass the dealership with naming the dealership. But a client of mine went to a dealership to have their tires rotated and all that. And guess what? The tire, a lug nut wasn't put on all the way, and the tire fell off, and they were hit by a semi.
Oh, my gosh.
Seriously injured. Can you imagine going down the road and your wheel goes, not good. Not good at all. You going to Reds Fest, Garrett?
No.
You're not?
I think it's boring.
It is boring.
A good event, cool, they can do their thing.
I'm the same way. You know, it's one of those things where you reach a point to where it's like, you know what? This isn't anything new.
Right.
And I'm not into hero worshiping either.
I don't care about seeing players or anything like that.
I'm just not into it, man.
Yeah.
In the latest evidence of shortcomings in our reading education, U.S. students only knew about half of what they were expected to. I'm telling you right now, our culture is destroying our education in this country. I mean, it really is. The Air Force is demanding that all photos objectifying women be removed from Air Force public spaces. You know, that's what I like about Bill Spry. He doesn't mind us having a poster in a swimsuit of Farrah Fawcett, Christy Brinkley, Raquel Welch, and Mary Deters.
That's because he's not in here.
On the walls in here.
The best one we have in here is Sofia Vergara. She's the one that I face right behind
I think
you.
my wife's swimsuit poster's much better.
I had to look at that.
Humping a rock or something here, and then, just a great picture.
Washington state marijuana law, as of yesterday, it became legal for those 21 and over to smoke marijuana. Hippies are gonna flock to
They're
Washington.
loving it. They're loving it.
We can hang out in the woods and smoke a doobie.
They don't even have to go to the woods anymore,
That's one of the best characters of all time is Jeff Spicoli. All I need is a cool balls and some tasty waves, and I'm fine.
And some tasty waves.
Come on, Mr. Hand. Cool. 150,000 Toyota Tacoma trucks are being recalled. Model years 2001 to 2004. Wow. What do you think of that, man?
I don't own one.
Good thing I don't own one.
All right, we
There's
got a
a lot
clip
of
on this.
recalls.
This is clip number 66 there, Garrett. Parents of 16-year-old Kaylee Castillo are offering an award due to intense bullying.
This is sad.
I got a client yesterday had his daughter bullied, and I'm going to help him out. Go ahead.
Paul, Kaylee Castillo was hesitant to go on camera, but when she discovered a pornographic picture of herself photoshopped to someone else's body, handed out to dozens of lockers here, and then it ended up online, she decided to speak out.
That's sad.
I just wanted to stop.
Bullied to her breaking point.
They're like making me like afraid to go to school because like I'm just scared like every day like if I go and like something new is going to happen.
16-year-old Kaylee Castillo says she thought whoever was bullying her would stop last year after they trashed her locker and left a mouse in it, wrote obscene words about her in the bathroom, spray-painted slut in her driveway, left excrement at her front door, covered her mother's car in baby powder, and sent promiscuous texts to a boy at school as if they were from her phone. But 2 days ago,
it all started happening again.
She says someone photoshopped a picture of her face onto a pornographic photo of a woman and placed it in all the lockers at Los Alamitos High School.
Man,
You know, we would do stuff to our buddies in high school, like not leave extra. Well, we did poop in a bag one time and throw it into a buddy's yard. But yeah, we never to a girl, never to
right
in a mean way.
And here's hey, this is interesting. Police in Fredericksburg were forced to guard an ATM that had been bombed. How you like this? They bombed an ATM truck.
As you can see behind me, Fredericksburg
truck,
police are still on scene
wall unit.
Yeah, I mean
guarding
a wall
that
unit.
ATM that will do so until a money truck arrives to clean it out. The folks that live in an apartment complex right behind the camera here have been allowed to go back inside after being evacuated this afternoon for a short time because a bomb-sniffing dog alerted to a dumpster nearby. The charred backside of an ATM machine, evidence of an early morning theft attempt that police say failed.
Wow.
We did review the
Family of a 15-year-old boy has sued Chicago Public Schools after he was strip searched by a female assistant principal. Holy cow. Anything going on traffic out there, Denise?
Well, we just covered that before. I mean, we've got your slow traffic all around the tri-state. Those wet roads always cause problems. We've had our fair share of accidents
I don't
this
mind
morning.
coming you back to twice because
yeah,
I know
you know what?
the
When,
rain's out there.
right, when it gets really bad, I mean, it's really slow. So they do need to add some extra time on out there this morning because you're already looking at 30 minutes from Tucson 71, 75 down to the Brent Spence, you know, your favorite bridge.
My favorite bridge. Jim DeMint, the South Carolina senator, is going to resign January 1 to take over the Heritage Foundation to serve as its president. That's a pretty big deal. I guess they think they can hold on to somebody else, though. I mean, they can elect someone else. Jay Carney said of Senator McConnell's offer to put Obama's fiscal cliff proposal to a vote in the Senate, we don't have 60 votes in the Senate. Ha, 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 ha. Good. Man, oh, man. Some people are saying the First Lady ought to run for Michelle Obama for the Illinois Senate seat. What is about the power that goes to these folks' head? It's like Governor Wilkinson was governor of Kentucky, and he couldn't stand giving it up, so he had his wife run for governor.
What?
I mean, it's just people just will not.
Sad part is she'd win.
Just not. Yeah, you're right. Would not walk away. You know what? I love Wheel in the Sky.
Mm.
I love Wheel in the Sky. Ladies and gentlemen, American Jury, when we come back, more Radio Superbity. This is Wheel in the Sky on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. What's going on out there in traffic, Denise?
Well, let's check out some more. I have a new accident with injuries, and that is on Kenwood Road between Galbraith and Sycamore, so you need to watch for that. Some really slow traffic out there this morning with those wet roads. We've had our fair share of accidents as well. There's another one on 75, the ramp northbound to Sharon Road, so if you're heading northbound on 75, getting off there. On Sharon, you're going to run into some problems as well. And then just really, already 30 minutes in northern Kentucky heading inbound across the Brent Spence. We already mentioned that. But then again, if you're heading northbound on 75, as you're heading on up from 74, the 74 merge up to around Mitchell, and then southbound 75, Lockland on down to Paddock. Back to you.
Thank you. What else do we have going on in politics? Now, this is what I'm talking about, and we got a radio clip of this. You know what? I said yesterday that it's time for the conservatives to stand tall, stand tough, stand strong. More than ever, we need them. And John Boehner, who is an establishment Republican, and Barack Obama have much more in common than the Tea Party and John Boehner. Rand Paul, here's what Rand Paul said yesterday.
I do think that it is important to remind people that capitalism is the most humanitarian economic system, ever developed, because capitalism develops so much wealth that we can give and help those who are less fortunate, both in our country and around the world. But if you look at a country like Cuba, socialism doesn't produce any wealth, so you don't see Cuba able to, or Cuban citizens able to have the wealth to help people. All the wealth we have, the Bill Gates and all of those others, have done wonderful things with their private wealth. Carnegie did great things with his private wealth. So I think it is worth extolling that and extolling that, capitalism is the system that can provide the most and greatest humanitarianism.
But it's frustrating to see leaders of the Republican Party basically selling out and trying to be more Democrat-light. Now, I also wanted to ask you, I mentioned it before the break, why does the president only want to get the rich through marginal tax rates, which will hurt economic growth?
He went on to say that, now this is great. Are you ready for this? Paul said members removed from committee appointments were those who supported a balanced budget in 5 years, instead of Paul Ryan's plan, which balanced the budget over 28 years. He said the people who removed the members would be held accountable if they ran for president. Ha! Do you see what's going on here, folks? What's going on here is this. You have the Tea Party congressional candidates that stormed in 2010, who they want to fix it now. Rand Paul wanted to balance the budget his first year. He came in and had over $500 billion in cuts. All these other mealy-mouth establishment plans, they're balancing it over like 20. We don't have time to wait 28 years. And so John Boehner, remember, this just proves I'm like a prophet. What did I say? I said that no one was happier on election night besides the Democrats than John Boehner, because he was going to use this as an excuse to blame it on the Tea Party candidates when the Tea Party had nothing to do with the loss. We need to run a good conservative candidate, not a goofball, against John Boehner. I'm serious. Let's expose the crying, wimpy John Boehner. I ain't scared of you, Boehner. You ought to be scared of me, Mr. Speaker of the House. Getting rid of conservative Tea Party people who want to do it right. You, Mr. Cave in on taxing the rich. Mr. Help create a super committee which is deadlocked, dead on arrival. John Boehner, anybody with a brain could destroy you in a debate about what you do and what Congress does. It's incredible. And you too, McConnell, you're running 2014, you're going to need Northern Kentucky. What do you think about tolls on the bridge, Senator? Answer the question, Senator. Boehner, same with you. What's the deal? You guys block everything you can block, both Democrat and from the right. Why? Because you got to be for the country club Republican establishments. Where can you dole out the money to defense contractors? Makes me sick. Both political. Remember what I said? George Bush sucked. Obama just sucks worse. Gets me fired up. Freedom Works. They criticizing John Boehner and the GOP for their fiscal cliff proposal, calling it unserious because it doesn't call for enough spending cuts. I tell you, the Republican Party, remember what Bush said? Bush said, he goes, compassionate conservative. I'm going to be a compassionate conservative. What the hell's that? And what does he do? He doesn't deal with the Democrats, and he passes the free drugs for everybody, prescription drug bill, which costs us more and is unfunded than Social Security. And it drives me nuts. No one ever talks about it. Go to usdebtclock.org and go to the bottom of the unfunded liabilities of this country. You will see the unfunded prescription drug bill, which the Democrats and Republicans did together under Bush, cost this country more than Social Security. You're welcome. Republicans and Democrats. You wonder why I called for a revolution in this country? You know, it's funny. I called for a revolution in this country, something that Thomas Jefferson thought was great, but the Kentucky Bar Association accused me of calling for the overthrow of our government. And then as a lawyer, you weren't allowed to do that. I can tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, there are probably few more anal organizations than bar associations. There really is. Anyway, you can tell my blood's starting to pump. You got traffic before I introduce the greatest Bob Seger song of all time?
Well, I do have a couple of problems out there. We already have mentioned an accident that has injuries on Kenwood Road, and that is between Galbraith and Sycamore, so you're going to be slow there. New accident southbound 71 at Taft. It's on the right shoulder, but you know that always slows you down. Westbound Sharon Road on the ramp to northbound 75, and also at Galbraith on the Ronald Reagan Highway.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, this was voted one of the top 100 songs of all time, but it's certainly the best Bob Seger song of all time. And we're going to play this for Denise and Jason.
I
because
just
she's
wanted
been asking
Seger.
for Seger all morning. So we know, I bet you Jason likes it. By the way, ever since...
I don't know.
Well, I got to
I'll
make an
ask him.
observation. You're going to find this interesting.
Okay.
Ever since you've all been dating,
Yeah.
I never hear from Jason. No texts, no emails. He hasn't said one word about you to me. Not one word. So typical. Hey, you know what? That's not cool at all, is it, Garrett?
What?
That you
Not
leave,
at all,
you leave
man.
your buddy. You abandon your buddy because of the woman.
He texted you.
No, he doesn't.
Not, man, I don't know how much did he text you before. I have no idea.
He hasn't texted me once since you all moved in together.
It's a loser move, bro.
Class.
He's working.
This is for Jason and Denise.
It's
Night
not.
Moves
It's
on
not.
Class X Radio.
It's
Night
not.
I
I'm
decided who the
asking
song
him
is
right
for.
now.
Yes, it is for you, Denise.
Eric Deters, the Bulldog on Class X Radio. How about a traffic report there, Denise?
We got a traffic report for you. An accident with injuries, and that is on Kenwood Road, again between East Galbraith and Sycamore. Southbound 71 at Taft. It's on the right shoulder. Westbound Sharon Road on the ramp to northbound 75. And in Arlington Heights, you have one at Galbraith and the Ronald Reagan Highway. So very, very slow traffic out there. You got those wet roads, and that always causes long delays. So add on some extra time.
All right, Garrett, since you're the sports guy, William, who is always on top of things, sent us a text. Why don't you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the American jury of the rumor being reported apparently by ESPN?
It's also
All
on
right, so
19.
Butch Jones has accepted the job at Tennessee. He will, I guess, not coach the Bearcats in the Belk Bowl later this month. Steve Stripling, a 30-year coaching veteran who joined the UC staff in 2009, 2010 was named the Bearcats' interim head coach. So most likely he'll end up coaching the bowl game, and then the coaching search will begin at UC. But you had to kind of know it was coming. It's the third time in the last 3 coaches have all left
9 years.
After 3 years. 3 coaches, 9 years, all stayed for 3 years and left. Mark D'Antoni, Michigan State, Brian Kelly, Notre Dame, and now Butch Jones, Tennessee, all gone. Some pretty big coaching jobs, and it was just reported yesterday that falsely that Jones had accepted the coaching job at Colorado. That turned out to be erroneous. Butch Jones denied that vehemently, said I haven't talked or made a decision at all, which was probably true. And then now it comes out that he's accepted the coaching job at Tennessee and will begin there next year. A better job. You can't fault the guy, just like you really can't fault D'Antoni or Brian Kelly for leaving for Notre Dame and Michigan State. So an SEC job, big-time program down at Tennessee. I've heard game days down in Knoxville for that are just nuts. So
it
good
is
for
nuts.
Butch Jones. You can't fault the guy for taking his dream job.
You know what's fascinating about this? I don't think there's any question. He was going to take that Colorado job, and
Tennessee might have come in at the last second.
They came in there, Tennessee, Wisconsin, and let's face it, they are more successful football school programs. But the big thing about Tennessee is you're in the SEC. So you got recruits that you get to say, we get to play Alabama, we get to play LSU, Florida. You're playing the best schools in the country. That's nice for recruiting.
Yeah. From UC, Cincinnati coach Butch Jones resigned his position effective immediately.
Wow.
Director of Athletics Whit Babcock announced on Friday. Babcock will address the media today at 10 o'clock. He said, I would like to thank Butch Jones for his time at the University of Cincinnati. So
moving on up.
Yeah. I kind of I was telling some people this. Colorado, I thought, would have been a lateral move. I don't see what
exactly
that I mean,
right.
Then you're going to a new school where you kind of have to start over, getting your recruits back in there. I mean, Tennessee, yeah, they may have a couple more down years, but once he gets his recruits in there, they'll do fine. And
the conference
back to national
situation with UC is tough.
It's a shame.
But I don't care what you say, and it's just the way it is, folks. And I think, in fact, I'm going to challenge you, Garrett. I'd like you to name a school. Well, let me make my statement, then I'm going to make a challenge to you. Schools are what they are. For example, you can have down years like UK went through a bad spurt there, but UK is a premier NCAA basketball school. Alabama, a premier football school. And you've seen situations like where Northwestern, under that coach, gained some prominence and improved, like for the first time ever. And then he went to Colorado, and then I can't think of the coach's name. And you've had other schools like that rise up for a moment. I think that a school like Gonzaga, for example, has maintained, to be a very good basketball school. But you are basically positioned where you are, and you stay there. In other words, what I'm trying to say is I can't imagine a scenario where UC is going to be a football school that's going to be able to keep a coach because it is the best position there. In other words, look at their stadium. Look at Nippert compared to Tennessee. Look at
horrible.
And the money's tight. I mean, so I just don't see UC ever in football. It's going to always be a stepping stone. And my guess is the administration, after the third time in 9 years, they know that that's the case. Right. They say, well, what the hell? We'll just keep churning out good teams, good coaches, and let them move on.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they're resigned to having to do now, is just kind of saying, well, that's just what we are. Because and the Big East, the Big East fell apart in no time, and the Big East was never a prominent football conference. It was always for basketball. Well, we all know football is the real moneymaker in college sports. So UC was never going to be that. The Big East is never going to be that. And now all of a sudden the Big East is changing, where your biggest basketball schools are leaving, which is also most of your football schools too. It's not the conference it once was. you can't expect. I mean, I think we're lucky to have Mick Cronin as the basketball coach because I really firmly believe that he wants to be here and he'll be here.
Well, the basketball team's a totally different ballgame. Huggins built it up, kept it there. You know, I could see Cronin staying at UC forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
UC can compete for a national championship in basketball.
Absolutely. Football, they can't. We saw it 2 years ago when we competed, and that's what I don't like about college football is because the best teams aren't playing each other at the end of the year right now. Next year that'll change with the playoff scenario. You'll have the top 4 teams going head to head. But a couple years ago, UC has this great season, undefeated season. They number 3 team in the country, go on to play Florida and get absolutely smoked. You know, it wasn't even a game.
We were joking around and giving each other a hard time at the beginning of the year about UK and UC basketball. And what you're witnessing right now is UC's basketball team seasoned. You're right. They're really good. UC, by the end of this year, UC will be competing for the national basketball champion NCAA tournament. There is no question about it. The issue will be whether can UK, and I still think they will. Did you see where Calipari is going to put them through what he's calling Camp Cal? Early morning workouts, running, work. I mean, he is basically whipping them to shape. You know what he said? He goes, I think this is what this team needs. We have all been reading, myself included, our news clippings. And he says it's time
He was getting the Bulldog newsletter. You've been sending it down to Lexington. I think, they've all been reading it.
He really liked the suggestion that I had for the locker room speech.
Yeah. You're right, though, about college hoops at UC is the number one sport.
Let's see what Denise has to say about this topic. Denise, what do you think about all these basketball and football that we're talking about? Thank you.
Great commentary, Denise. That was good stuff. It's real good. We need a song. God, we need a song. Breaking news. This is kind of like our first real breaking news event on the
and I think
Bulldog Nation show.
And I think we've handled it very well.
Absolutely, we have.
We don't have to do a song. We can stay right here because we got more. We can comment about this. UC football is now open. I mean, the coaching position.
Coaching position is open.
Who out there, Garrett? Because see, I don't know these guys. I didn't know who Butch, Dave. I don't know these guys. So who's out there that would take this spot?
You know,
Lou Holtz's son.
Skip Holtz just got fired from South Florida. You know, I don't think so. If I'm UC, I keep with the trend of going and go do what Tennessee and what Notre Dame and what Michigan State has done to UC.
The MAC.
UC needs to go do that from smaller schools.
Central Michigan is where Brian Kelly and Butch came from.
And Butch Jones came from. Go back and do that again. I mean, they call this silly season. They call December right after the last college football game ends. They call it silly season because of all these coaches. I forget that Sunday, the first day after the last games, which was last Sunday. I think it's called Black Sunday or something because it's just firing. So that's when you get all the this season was terrible. You're fired.
You know, just like.
But don't go back. Don't regress. Go get the next hot guy. Let him stay for 3 years. Get good and go.
You know, Willie, I exchanged. Willie was at his Christmas party up there, and Judge Penelope R is up there with him, and I exchanged some texts with him last night. He was at the Christmas party. You know, Willie is doing what he's doing because of the money. I mean, he's making such good money doing this television show. Flying back and forth from Cincinnati to New York is just unbelievable tough on him. And now he's getting ready. He'll have a big, long break because you cut the shows and you stop because you're doing more in one show. But he says, dog, how do I turn down this money? How do I not do this? And just like, my wife and I have had this candid conversation about what might be happening for me next year. And I said, if it happens, the financial security factor, you can't turn that down. Right. Just think what it's like. People, quote, unquote, dream about winning the lottery. Well, being signed for your first big movie contract, television deal. Are you kidding me? These football coaches, what you are going to sign up, it's incredible where you all of a sudden are making $5 million a year, $3 million a year, $4 million a year. And unlike the athletes, okay, like look at Calipari, okay, unlike somebody could have a 10-year NBA career. you can coach for 50.
Right. Yep. You can coach until look at Lou Holtz, look at
But
Joe Paterno.
It's a life-changing event for his family. And in addition to that, which is cool, your friends, connections, and relationships going to Tennessee, 4 or 5 hours away.
And who doesn't want to move up? I mean, who doesn't want to be promoted?
Exactly.
I mean, you're getting more money. You're
I got
in
an
a better
expression,
position.
you can always go backwards. Why not go for it?
Right. Yeah, there's no reason not to take the job.
UC's coach is gone. He's resigned. He's taking the job at Tennessee. Butch Jones.
Out. 24-11, I think, record at UC in 3, something like that.
Butch Jones, and by the way, I was one that defended Brian Kelly. I thought UC fans were mean to him. Come on, you get a chance to go to Notre Dame. So Godspeed, Butch Jones. Thanks for helping UC have a great football program, and we'll just bring in someone else.
And let me say one more thing about that. Yep. It sounds like, just from what the little I've read so far about it, and I'll definitely read up here more on the break, but like he has handled this a little better than Brian Kelly did. I don't know if you remember that whole situation.
Right.
The players all found out. Now these players are probably waking up this morning and they're watching ESPN. They're looking at Twitter. And, yeah, they're going to see that Butch Jones is gone, and that's just how it happens. You're not really going to hear about it first from the coach. I guess, as Zim was saying, they have a meeting scheduled later with Butch Jones, and he'll call them all in, and he'll tell them straight to their face. I don't think that Brian Kelly ever did that. So a little bit different there, but you can't blame him either way.
All right, we come back. We'll have more Radio Superbity on Class X Radio.
The new 88.9.
What's going on out there in traffic?
Oh, you don't really want to know, do you? There's tons going on out there. We have several different accidents around the tri-state. A new one southbound 71. It's on the right shoulder just south of Pfeiffer, and you're slow from Fields Erdel. It's just right off the ramp. Also, and then continuing on down to Ronald Reagan. Also, this accident still there, southbound 71 at Taft. A new one at Martin Luther King at Harvey. One on Ronald Reagan at Galbraith, which we've been dealing with. And then there's a couple others out there as you're heading out southbound 71 right at Ronald Reagan. So there's another one for you, and that's a couple of them on 71. And then if you're heading inbound on 74, I was just trying to check out the volume of traffic and how slow. If you're heading inbound on 74 eastbound, there's an accident, and that's just west of Montana, and that traffic has backed up there to North Bend. So expect some delays pretty much all around the tri-states. Just a bunch of solid, almost looks like a Christmas tree out there. Just a bunch of red lights and white lights sitting on the roadways. You want to make fun of that one?
No, I'm not going to make fun of it. Well, Jason has sent me a text, and he says, Joker Phillips coached at UC. Is that true? The fired UK coach?
I don't think so.
He said he was just hired at Florida. I can't. No way.
No.
Joker Phillips just fired from UK. It was no way he's hired by Florida.
Florida doesn't. Unless he's like a D or offensive coordinator at Florida, maybe.
Yeah, maybe that, but there's no way.
I don't know. He follows ESPN.
Who is it, Muschamp or something at Florida right now?
Nah, he's got to be like an assistant or something like that.
That's right. The head coach right now.
There's what?
One more accident.
Go ahead.
Your favorite spot. Cole Rain at 275. Well, I was talking about something important.
Football's more important than traffic,
Depends
Denise.
on where you are and when it is.
Jobless claims for unemployment benefits dropped $25,000 to a seasonally adjusted $370,000. Well, they just play games with that. Play games. Apple CEO Tim Cook said the company plans to produce one of its Mac computers in the U.S. next year. Well, isn't that nice? Thank you for producing one. Since we buy them all, my goodness. You know what? The rest of the newsletter, forget about it. It seems meaningless and pointless today.
Really?
Yeah, all the news is boring today except Butch Jones.
Except for sports. Well, you know what? When you guys love sports, that's who's listening. So what's it say?
Oh, by the way, I got to add on a personal note. You know, the poster, that picture of the bikini poster that I had blown up of the missus, which I put in my office at home, she saw it and she wasn't mad at me.
Because you had it at home? So
she was not mad.
She doesn't know where else you hung it?
She said, "You're stupid."
Yeah.
She goes, "You know I don't look like that anymore." I said, "So?" Actually, I did. I said, "Yeah, you do."
Good answer. Good answer. If you said, "Yeah, you do," that's a good answer. It's the way to answer.
You see what I have here, Denise?
Yeah, I do. You're eating healthy.
These are called cuties. They are called They're not tangerines. They're called, gosh, I cannot believe I can't think of the name.
Orangelo?
I cannot believe come on, Zimmerman. You always know something about.
Angelo?
No. What are these called?
Clementine.
Clementines.
Oh, there you
Garrett
go.
got it.
Woo!
Clementines. Remember we asked for some clementines this week because we wanted to start eating healthier
You
instead
asked
of
for
Snickers?
raspberries.
Raspberries and clementines. Do we get them? No.
Yeah, they are. They're home in my
You know what's
refrigerator.
going on here, Garrett? She's spending way too much time with the new boyfriend.
Yeah.
We've lost her to her boyfriend.
I don't think so. I didn't get to see him till 6 o'clock last night. What are you talking about? I did buy raspberries. They're at home in my refrigerator unless he ate them all.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, it's raining out there. Be safe. But there's a lot going on in the tri-state that's indoors. Reds Fest. I don't know if there's any new movies coming out this weekend, but there's already some great movies. If you haven't seen Lincoln, go see the movie Lincoln, which is an historical, wonderful movie. Skyfall, the Bond movie, is outstanding. Killing Them Softly, the Brad Pitt movie, which kind of bombed. I'm telling you, it's a great movie, especially if you like the Sopranos stuff. There's a lot to do indoors. We're all decorated. By the way, I collect Santa Clauses, and my wife put out all the Santa Clauses yesterday, and I love Santa Clauses. The living room is filled with Santa Clauses.
What kind? Just all different kinds?
The mantle is
Nutcrackers,
decorated.
all that kind of stuff?
The Christmas tree's up. I'm in the Christmas spirit.
Are you?
Guess what? True story. She does want a chicken coop. She brought me.
That's funny.
This guy makes them, and you can buy them, and she brought me a chicken coop. I wonder how many women out there ask for a chicken coop for Christmas.
Women that have a lot of land might.
Very few.
Yeah. I don't know.
My wife wants a chicken coop, so I'm going to get her a chicken
There you
coop
go.
for Christmas.
Nice. Did you find somebody that build it?
Mm-hmm. Cheaper and bigger than what you can buy prefab.
Really? So it's
I've written the number down. I got to call
market
him today.
stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Where are you going to get the chickens?
That would be the funnest part, getting all the chickens.
We're gonna go over to my dad's farm and steal them. He's got a chicken coop. We're just gonna go over there and steal some of them.
Oh,
I was watching some. Have you ever seen on the Discovery Channel like the Great Alaskan Frontier or something? And it's about like ranchers up in Alaska. Real cool show. Well, one of these guys had a chicken coop, and one of the chickens went like nuts and killed a bunch of the other chickens. Started pecking them and like killing them. And so they had to go and kill that chicken. They had to find the chicken murderer.
Oh, then you can
and kill
start
that chicken.
the chicken
so if you
murderer.
what if you wake up and they're all slaughtered out there and you're like,
In Arkansas, Hillary and I, we used to go to cockfights all the time. Cockfights in Arkansas. This one cock was so big, he killed the little cock. It was unbelievable. Big cock killed the little cock. I said, look, Hillary, big cock beats little cock every time. Cockfights, Arkansas.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
Never
American
seen one of
Jerry.
those.
When we come back for the final hour of our show, we're only gonna cover
football.
We're only
We're
gonna
have
cover
fun. It's Friday.
We're
Fun
only gonna
Friday.
cover breaking news and whatever the hell we want to talk about, but we're gonna have some fun. The hell with the serious stuff on Class X Radio.
We need chickens.
This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio. I tell you right now, the Tennessee jokes are pouring into my phone. What's going on out there in traffic there, Denise?
Well, they're reporting a serious accident with injuries blocking some lanes on westbound 74 at Montana. So that has that traffic really, really slow. If you're heading inbound this morning, expect some delays back past North Bend. So you've got some long delays there, as well as an accident in Hamilton Avenue right at John Gray, Chester at Greenwood, Coleraine at 275, Ronald Reagan eastbound at 75. Still dealing with the one southbound 71 at Ronald Reagan. Let's see, there's one other one popping up here. Beachmont Avenue. There's an accident in that area, so you need to watch for that. They're not giving the details on that. So anyway, plenty of accidents and really just slow traffic. Whenever it's wet out there, you've got some long delays, Like allow extra time if you're just now heading out. This is the worst part of the day, though.
All right. I want everybody to know that I always appreciate your sharing your thoughts on subject matters, and I'm a little late getting back to this one, but Mel Farnsley, the market co-manager of Let Us Eat Well Farmers Market, sent me a very nice email about the chicken coop and other issues. I haven't read the whole thing, but I will this weekend. But Farmers Market on Cincinnati's west side, Let Us Eat Well Farmers Market. That's pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, for your listening and laughing pleasure. And by the way, Mel listens to us every morning. We're just growing and growing and growing. You know, we're the best option in the morning, let's face it. All right, here is your Saturday Night Live bit for today. Enjoy. You got a traffic report? That's some funny stuff. We gotta love Sean Connery.
It is. Plenty going on out there this morning. Some slow traffic on Ronald Reagan. There's an accident eastbound right around Hamilton, and you are slow heading towards 75 there this morning. Also, let's see, southbound 71, they're still saying that one's out there. Ronald Reagan, Kenwood, between Galbraith and Sycamore, an accident there. The left lane is blocked on 74 inbound. So you need, or I'm sorry, let's turn that around. Westbound at Montana, so you've got some slow traffic there as well. Martin Luther King at Harvey, Guest at US 50, so plenty of accidents. Hamilton at Gray. There was one on Coleraine. Yeah, Coleraine at 275. Chester at Greenwood. So plenty of problems, and hopefully it'll start clearing up here soon. But, you know, once it starts raining, gosh, I dread the idea of winter coming and snow and cold, and we haven't even had that yet.
Well, let's hope we don't have
Thank
it.
goodness. Oh, no, really, wouldn't it be nice to have this weather all winter long?
Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, when we come back, we're going to cover the NFL this weekend, analyze the Bengals-Cowboys game, and have a little bit of fun. And I can tell you, Butch Jones, of course, has left the University of Cincinnati for the University of Tennessee. This is Bob Dylan knocking on heaven's door on Class X Radio. It's the Bulldog on Class X Radio. It's been a rainy morning out there, and hope everybody's been safe. Denise, what do we have out there?
Well, we've had plenty of accidents out there this morning, and things still looking a little slow out there. We just ran through several of the accidents. The biggest problem is the left lane is blocked on 74. East of 275 westbound at Montana. You've got traffic slow there. Also, Cleves, in the Cleves area, there's a vehicle fire on 74 west of 275. So right around that Miami River Road exit. They've cleared the accident on Taft. Ludlow at Central, an accident 471 heading inbound. That's always a big problem. Actually, I take that back. That's southbound on the Daniel Carter Beard Bridge. That's a new accident. So not as big of a problem as the inbound traffic, that's for sure. And then we have the accident blocking the right shoulder on Ronald Reagan, and that is right around 75, and that traffic is very heavy on Ronald Reagan if you're heading in that direction.
All right. This is NFL Sunday coming up, folks. And the biggest game is Dallas and the Bengals. So should we start there? Sure. Now, you guys, everybody's mics on? Was your mic on? Was your mic on? See, it wasn't on. See?
Oh, there you go.
All right.
He didn't need to answer. That's
now,
why.
We're going to go, the way I understand we do this 1, 2, 3, and you say who's going to win?
If you want to play that game.
Well, compatibility testing between me and Denise. Yep.
St. Louis at Buffalo.
St. Louis.
One.
See, she doesn't know. She doesn't understand the game.
Let's just not do the game. St. Louis at Buffalo. Who do you think is going to win?
Ooh, Buffalo.
Dallas at Cincinnati.
Dallas.
Really? You know, see, I would have said Cincinnati.
I hate to admit this because everybody knows I'm a big old Dallas fan. And, you know, I will be rooting for Dallas. It's the only time I will root against the Bengals. However, I'll be fine if the Bengals win because I'm a Bengals fan too. My biggest concern is, because I know both these teams. I probably know both these teams better than anybody in town. The reality of it is that the Bengals' defensive line is playing lights out. The weakest part of Dallas's team is the offensive line. But you know what weird things happen in these games and in football? I mean, I've seen Dallas play somebody, Dallas ought to beat them because all their secondary's injured. And then we don't throw very well. You just never know.
Right.
The other odd thing about Dallas is Dallas plays better on the road than that big old stadium, which doesn't give them a home field advantage in Dallas. Dallas plays well on the road.
They got DeMarco Murray back. He ran the ball great last week in his first week back.
That was my next point that I was going to make. Dallas was last in the league rushing, and now they get DeMarco Murray back, and it's a totally different team offensively.
Yep.
Now, the other thing is Dallas is really good at stopping the run. So, you know, they're going to force Dalton to throw the ball.
Pick him off. They need to pick him off.
I think weather is going to be a factor, too.
It's supposed to rain?
Yep.
Ah, no.
No,
damn.
weekend.
So
I don't like to hear that.
I'll pick Dallas. Kansas City at Cleveland.
I think Kansas City.
I say Cleveland.
See, I said Kansas City.
Tennessee at Indianapolis. How about Luck?
Luck. Yeah, Indy. Luck's.
Chicago at Minnesota.
Chicago.
I'll go Vikings. Philadelphia, Tampa Bay.
We got to write these down and go over them on Monday. Philadelphia at Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay.
I said Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay is played so well, but not quite won so many games.
I know. They're a weird team.
Baltimore at Washington. That's a good game.
Yeah, it is. Jeez. At Washington. I'm going to say Washington.
I'm going to say Washington, too, but I need the Ravens to beat them.
See, and I said Baltimore.
Why? Oh, because
Dallas.
because of the division, yep.
Atlanta at Carolina.
Ray Lewis is back for that game, too, which is pretty incredible. What was that game?
Atlanta at Carolina.
Atlanta.
Jets at Jacksonville. Is Tebow still hurt?
Jets. Yeah, but they're going with Sanchez instead of McElroy. The Jets are horrid.
You said Jets or Jacksonville?
I said the Jets.
Okay, so I said Jacksonville.
Just
San
because
Diego
Jacksonville.
at Pittsburgh.
Jacksonville might get that win.
This is pretty scary.
Is Roethlisberger back?
Yes.
Isn't it great that the freaking Bengals and Dallas both play Pittsburgh when Roethlisberger's back?
Yeah. I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
Miami at San Francisco.
San Fran, no question.
Arizona at Seattle.
Seattle.
New Orleans at New York.
I
need
the Giants?
New Orleans to beat the Giants.
Wow, that's going to be a great game. Is that the Sunday night game?
Giants, no, 4:25 Sunday.
Okay, so it's a late Sunday game.
And then
I'd say
make your
Giants.
choice. Giants. And Detroit at Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Well,
you know what? You and I are actually somewhat compatible. Like 75%. Oh, there we go, baby.
See ya, Jason.
Wow.
How funny is that?
Somewhat compatible.
Well, when you got 75% of the answers the same, isn't that what you were going on?
That's right.
There you go.
You and Jason
It's a
weren't
shame you're a
nearly
baby.
that close.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, oh man. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, I will never, ever, ever, ever understand how people can defy logic in making decisions in the political process. We've got a situation in this country where I just, you hear Barack Obama from 2008 talk about, George Bush racking up debt and unpatriotic at almost $10 trillion. And here we are at $16 trillion and counting. And how can he, his advisors, and the Democratic Congress continue on this path? It is incredible. And now you've got the Republican establishment who are basically turned against the Tea Party, and they're going to go make a deal of some kind with this president. I mean, I just don't get it at all. And you're going to see a deal that's going to pass in Congress with Republican establishment votes and Democrat votes. You're not going to see a deal that's passed with the conservative Republicans. But it just goes on. Many years ago, a good and wise king placed upon a drawbridge across the moat to his castle a truth that would be just that, always true. That's what he wanted. The only certain eternal truth, as this time too shall pass, for change is inevitable. That's the reality. It's an eternal truth. And in these times, as I survey the geopolitical landscape, I just can't believe it. But I, for one, am not going to be a John Boehner and surrender to ignorance, sloth, laziness, apathy. I'm not going to capitulate my responsibility as an American citizen, as a father, as an employer, as a leader. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to yield to those who are weak in spirit, mind, body, soul, and principle. All for greed, personal ambition, and selfish purposes. That's all they do. Every single day. How can I climb that ladder? I had a conversation with Larry Forgy over the weekend where we talked about, on Sunday, I talked to him for a long time, we talked about Kentucky has never changed. It's always been what it is. And the reason why, all those that hold political office and the governorship, every 4 years, it's the same old thing. Same old thing. No one ever really does anything to solve problems, make Kentucky different. He points out, for example, and this is a big battle in Michigan, the right to work state. You know why? There is absolutely zero logic that government projects should be union labor at prevailing wage. None whatsoever. Why should a taxpayer pay more than a right to work state? And he talked about how much projects Kentucky loses out, all the time. And he goes, what's amazing is there's like 6% of Kentucky's union led by the teachers union. And he says they get all these benefits because of money and political power, which they should not have. It just keeps going on. And it looks like in Washington, things just go on and on and on. And our country really is going to have, I'm sorry, folks, we are really going to have a revolution in this country. I don't know if it's going to be peaceful or it's not going to be peaceful, but it's coming. It's coming. No doubt in my mind it's coming. And I'm going to be on the side of those people that have had a freak enough of the stupidity, the fiscal irresponsibility. So we come back, more Radio Superbity. This is Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone from Top Gun on Class X Radio. This is the Bulldog. Aaron Deters on Class X Radio. You can listen to us every morning on 88.9 FM and 89.1 FM right here in the Tri-State. Also on live tune-in radio, Class X. There's a Class X Radio app. Also on the bulldogsnation.com and classxradio.com. Text me at 859-250-2527. I will not be satisfied until everybody in the Tri-State has my cell phone number. Also, email me at eric@ericdeters.com, eric@ericdeters.com, any show ideas or whatever you like. And here we go, traffic on this rainy Friday.
Yeah, it is. And we've had plenty of problems out there as far as an accident, and the left lane is blocked on 74 east of 275. So between 75 and 27 or 127. So watch for that. Plenty of slow traffic out there. It looks like it's easing up just a little bit as I was looking through some of the cameras. I'm going to jump over to the other screen here and see what's, it's not one to come up there. It wants to reboot on its own. 71, 75, you're sitting on your brakes there, slow, I should say, from Buttermilk on down to the bridge, looking at about 25 to 30 minutes. It's easing up just a little bit. There were some earlier problems on there. And as far as 71, you're still slow pretty much all the way from Fields Erdel on down to the Kenwood Cut in the Hill. And then there was one other accident. I think we mentioned the Ronald Reagan accident. So plenty of accidents out there this morning. We've had our fair share. They've cleared a lot of these up. So
hope nobody's hurt out there. I forgot to mention also I Twitter on Bulllaw, B-U-L-L-A-W, 3 L's, Bulllaw. Also, both Class X Radio and myself have Facebook pages and lots of social media stuff going on. Ladies and gentlemen, you got that ready to go? Is it not ready to go yet? It's right. Coming up, we're going to have a Monty Python toll bridge clip for you. We like to be relevant. Of course, we know that this toll bridge is a jackwagon of an idea. And I just, again, folks, I'm amazed how members of the media do not ask these questions and insist on the answers. Not one single member of the media has ever asked this question to anybody involved in Obama administration, Congress, now say, who are the actual individuals, the names and who they are of the individuals, the staff members, the actual individuals who put together Obamacare? Okay? Why do we not know that? And isn't that an important point, an important thing to know? And how did they put it together? What did they draw what from? And it would amaze you, and this is why I want to know, it would amaze us to find out that really nobody, right hand, left hand, didn't know what the hell they were doing. It's just a bunch of gobbledygook. Now, here's another question, which just blows my mind, and I am going to get it done. I'm going to pay an economist to do this. Based upon the gross domestic product of this country, based upon the sales that we know take place throughout the states. We know how many sale transactions that take place in the public. Of course, we know there's a lot of underground. I'm going to find out, and we also know what the income is of what's reported, the corporations and private individuals. And I'm going to find out what the income tax rate and sales tax rate we could have to bring in the same amount of revenue that we bring in now without all the other crap in the tax code. I mean, it blows my mind that we just let these freaking idiots destroy our country, hurt us, and nobody holds them accountable. Nobody says, this is not right, we're not going to take it. And you know what? They're so wimpy on both parties. My God. Paul Ryan, wimp. Marco Rubio, wimp. Joking around about New Hampshire and South Carolina. Good God. I'll tell you something, folks. We need someone with strength, someone with guts, someone can articulate it, someone that's not going to back down, someone's going to keep the pressure on. And I'll be candid with you. I think maybe the only person in Congress capable of doing that's Rand Paul. He might be a little guy, but I tell you right now, he's principled and he's got guts. And I guess he gets it from his dad. You know, Ron Paul. By the way, let's analyze that. You know, Ron Paul was not allowed on the stage 4 years ago during the Republican debate. You go back and look at all the things Ron Paul warned us about in our economy. Everybody thought he was kooky. He wasn't kooky, he was right. That's the way they knock you down. They make you kooky. That's the way they knocked down Herman Cain. They made him sound like he was a woman grabber. That's what they do. And it's a shame that Herman Cain didn't have the strength to stand tall in that battle and say, I'm going to go on. This is a bunch of crap. I'm not going to let them destroy me. Instead, they got what they wanted. He got out. He gave up. He quit on us. It's incredible. And compare that, okay? These BS. And by the way, whatever happened to all those women with these allegations? No, they just disappeared. What's more freaking important? Saving our country or worried about this guy who, some BS allegation that some woman claims he touched her once on the leg. And when she said no, he took his hand back. Hell, even if the freaking thing's true, who cares? We got to change the country, folks. And the only way we're going to change the country is through raising hell. Internal revolution. I got to stress, peaceful. Peaceful. And they've taken these elections. $1 billion? You got to raise almost $1 billion to run for president? And all these jackwagons, consultants, and advisors. Can you imagine what some of those folks made and they all lost? How about Romney? If I'm Romney, I'm stopping payment on checks because his people told him he was going to win. Oh, we know you're going to win. You're going to win, Mr. President. And they were already calling him Mr. President. And then look what they all do. Look what Bobby Jindal. I can't stand that guy. I used to like him, not anymore. Bobby Jindal, Newt Gingrich, used to like him too, not anymore. He's a phony, full-time political hack. He can't do anything besides run for political office. All of his little companies, which we found out were just shell BS, are all part of pushing his political agenda. What do? They're wanting jobs from Romney. Romney loses. Then they start judging why Romney lost and basically dogging Romney. They have no loyalty. They have no courage. They ain't got nothing. Disgusted. Denise, what do we got in traffic?
Well, you know what? I've been sitting here trying to look through all the cameras, and actually traffic seems like it's easing up out there. It's definitely a yucky day on the roads. We've had plenty of different accidents, and I really just don't see a whole lot left over. They were reporting one on 74 that was causing problems. Right now, there's a new accident on 7175 right around Buttermilk. Not seeing that there's any problems from that. Just kind of checking out all the different cameras. You're still slow there as you're heading inbound, which is normal for Northern Kentucky. So still a little bit of a delay out there in a couple of spots. Mostly it's just the merges, but most of the accidents have cleared out of the way. So that's good news.
All right. We're going to hell in a handbasket.
Are we?
Yeah.
I don't want to go
I'm
to.
playing this song for America.
Okay.
AC/DC, Hell's Bells, Class X Radio. Bulldog on Class X Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, just take one moment today to remember that this is the day that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and it was a devastating day, or as FDR said, a day that will live in infamy. Final traffic report, Denise.
A couple of new accidents. Rybold at Harrison, Ludlow at Central Downtown, and you're just slow in all those typical spots, especially around the merges there. 75 in Ronald Reagan, and also 71 at Ronald Reagan, and heading inbound on 471, and also on 7175. Still slow from Buttermilk to the bridge.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, we understand that there was an incident down at the Brent Spence Bridge today, and we're gonna go live. We're gonna go live to the Brent Spence Bridge for a report of what went on down there. Apparently, a little ruckus. Tell them how it ended. We understand it. We do know.
Well, the guy that wanted to cross the bridge hacked all the limbs off the Knight, the Black Knight.
He did?
And the Black Knight just kept wanting to fight, even when he was just a stump.
Really? Wow.
And
that's how bad those toll folks are going to fight.
So at first, he only had one arm. And then he got that arm hacked off, and he had just two legs, so he started kicking. Then he got a leg kicked off, and he had to hop around, and he started headbutting.
Here is another issue. When I was ranting about the Obamacare, who wrote the Obamacare is this block the bridge, whatever, and they go a private and public. Now, I got to ask this question of 5, 9, 12, 19, and the Enquirer. Okay? I ought to be a news reporter. I got to ask him this question. Who is going to be the private part of this partnership? What is going to be the name of the entity? Who is going to own the entity? How are they going to fund themselves? And how are they going to be paid back? I mean, you know what I'm saying? How can nobody answer that question? Because you can't have a private-public partnership with some people in the private world owning that private part. And you know who they are? They're the people who are going to support the tolls so they can get rich. Why aren't we asking those questions? I don't know. You got to dig deeper. It's always below the surface, man. You got to dig a little deeper. All right, Dallas and the Bengals coming up on Sunday.
Big game for both teams.
Both are in the edge of the playoff hunt for the wild cards. Dallas, this is kind of funny. Dallas has completely sucked this year. 6-5 or 5 or 6-6. They're 6-6, whatever the hell they are. Yeah, 6-6. Do you know if the Giants lose 2 games and Dallas wins out and Washington lose 1 game, Dallas wins their division? That's messed up.
Yeah, if I'm Dallas, I'm just hoping for a wild card.
You know, you hate the wouldas and couldas, but this is it. Sean Lee doesn't get hurt. DeMarcus Murray doesn't get hurt. Even with that bad O-line, they're winning their division.
Maybe.
Their best defensive player gets hurt. Well, second best after DeMarcus Ware. I'll tell you somebody else.
Arguably their best offensive player.
Yeah, I'll tell you somebody who's overrated in football is not just Rex Ryan of the Jets, Rob Ryan, who I was a fan of for a while. I mean, you know what I feel like Rob Ryan does? He's gotten too fancy, like schemes and guessing and whatever. If I was a defensive coordinator, I'd play a base defense. You know, you can basically cover 2, you know, or you're playing against a run. And you know what? You just man up, baby. You ball. You don't, hit people. Hit the guy in front of you, whatever. Tackle.
It's such an offensive league anymore. I mean, it's so hard to play defense in the NFL. It's incredibly difficult.
But that's what you do. And you don't have these schemes and all these What it is you get too fancy. It doesn't work out, in my opinion. By the way, Jason was right. Joker Phillips, the fired UK coach, has arrived in Florida as the wide receivers coach. There you have it.
And obviously the big news of the day, Butch Jones.
Butch Jones. Tell him, Jason. Tell him, Garrett.
Butch Jones out at UC, resigned today. Press conference later to announce that he is hired at the University of Tennessee. The SEC, baby. That's big time.
And the rumors that Ken Brew is dating Robin Meade are not true.
God.
They are not true.
No chance.
No chance.
Now, me and Robin Meade, though, we're going to go out on a little date tomorrow night.
Good for you.
She is so freaking hot.
I don't think so.
Oh, my
she's
God.
better. She's better looking than that blonde
I think she looks like
woman
a porn
he likes.
star.
Either one, the girl on Morning Joe or Robin Meade.
That's just wrong. As Robin Meade, I agree
You're
with
wrong.
you. No, okay, whatever. I'm a girl.
You didn't
I really
wear
don't
makeup
care.
today, did you?
I don't care.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I didn't wear
What
makeup
is
today.
life, baby?
God. Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury, have a great week, and we'll be back Monday with some radio superbity. This is the Bulldog on Class X Radio.